Pasuk Tes Perek Beis. Vayitzer Hashem Elokim min Adomo Kol Chayis HaSodeh. So Chayis HaSodeh means including the behemoth. The Gemara says that the word Chayo includes not only the domesticated but the undomesticated. Veis Kolof HaShamayim, the birds of the heaven. V'yovi Elo Odom Liros Mayikrolo, and he brought them to Odom, El Ho-Odom, to see what he will call them. B'chol asher yikra lo Odom Nefesh Chayo Hushmo, and whatever he called them, Nefesh Chayo, that became its name. Let's see Rashi. Vayitzer min Adomo, hi yitziro hi asiyo, amur lamalo. Torah uses two terminologies. Yitzir means formation, yas means to make. Yitzir and asiyo means the same thing. Formation, making. Vayasel kim eschayis oretz elabo pirush ofis min rakak nivru. The birds were made from rakak. What's rakak? Rakak, grivela. It's a combination of the earth with water. Vishama lamalam shemin hamayim nivru. Before it says they were created from the birds, from water. The birds. Kana min adom nivru. So you see, the birds were created from a combination of both water and earth. But the animals were only created only from the earth, not from the water. I mean, every living species has some water content. But in terms of what it was created from, it was, here it says clearly the animals were from the earth, and the birds are from the earth also. But before it said they were created from the water. So evidently there's a great element of water in terms of creation. That the day they were created, he brought them to Reagodo. Yitzir is a losharidu v'kibush. Yitzir is an expression of control. Kimo kisotzer al ir. Interesting. You lay siege on the city. Shekovshin tachs yodo shalodom. The Yitzir kim mendomo v'yelvi. So if he's saying Yitziro here, it doesn't mean Yitziro, formation, but it means actually control. You got what do you want to say, David? I'm not sure exactly how it happened. It's a Gemara Shabbos. The Gemara says Shabbos that the animals with horns, the horns came out first, and then the legs came out afterwards. Quotes a pasuk in Tehillim. That was the process of formation by Yitzhar. It's interesting, there's a famous word from Chaim Bloichman writes in Nefesh Chaim that the names that Odom, they were brought to Odom, and Odom to see what he would call them. And when he called them, that became the name. So Chaim Bloichman writes in Nefesh Chaim that when Odom, as it says, that Odom before the Chet, he was able to see from one end of the world to the other. There was nothing that was obscured from his eye. He understood, he grasped everything. So we're speaking about everything in the physical has a spiritual counterpart. So we speak about not only the outer part of the, let's say an eagle, he speaks about Nesha. It's the example he speaks about, Nesha. Now what lies within the word Nesha? If you would understand what lies within the word nesher, why Adam called it nesher, we're talking about the plumage, the form, the talents, every aspect, the inner organs. Nesher, if you understand, you understand exactly the value and the purpose and the significance of that bird within existence. That was the depth of Adam's grasp and understanding, and that was the basis for that. It wasn't just a label. It wasn't a label. This is A, this is B, this is C. No. Within the name lie the total makeup and value and purpose of what that species was vis-a-vis all existence. That's a Chaim Volozhin. I'm not saying he could have created, but he understood. He understood. So over here, if you take a look in the Seforno, he says, Liros Mayikralo, Kadei Sheyireh V'Yizbonein. He should see and he should reflect Eza Shem Roy L'Kolech Mehem, which name, which appellation is appropriate for each species, Kvi'apula Hamyuchedes L'Tzuroso, according to the pula which is unique to its formation. Otherwise, what's L'Tzuroso? Tzuroso means its formation, its form. That means it seems to be something similar to what Rav Chaim Volozhin is saying in the Nefesh HaChaim. No, he wanted, look, I mean, a person is endowed with intelligence to do what with it? Right? To interact, and exactly, that's what intelligence is. He didn't tell Adam anything. He says, call them names. I want you to identify each species, that you should have an understanding what its value is. And after you have that understanding, then you give it a label. That label will identify what its value is. That's what he says. He should look and he should reflect on it and understand its function and value, then he gives it its name. That's the Seforno. I'm just elucidating it with the Chaim Volozhin. So he understands its function in creation. Every species has a specific, unique function within creation. You have endless types of birds, you know, and you have subcategories of birds. You have insects, every one. Each one has a value and a purpose, otherwise it wouldn't exist. God wouldn't have created it. Doesn't make a difference created. But afterwards, of course, God knew, but he wanted Adam should understand that. Because he, as it says, he's going to control, and it's under his domination. Adam, as the Maral said we had in Pirkei Avos, what Hashem is in heaven, that's what Adam's on earth. Hashem is Melech. As God is the eternal king, the human being is what? Is the Melech. On the terrestrial level, he's the king. He's in control. He has the power. So if you're in that position, that means you have to have a full understanding of what's in your domain. Adam had to have. So by giving the label and giving that responsibility, he had to reflect it. Let's see, we see. But if you don't reflect on it, you just gloss over it. But if you reflect on it and you delve into it, then all of a sudden you see different things. You understand different things. God wanted that Adam should understand every aspect of existence, and as a result of it, understanding what his responsibility is vis-a-vis existence. That was his purpose, to utilize existence to serve Hashem. So you have to understand the value and the capability and the purpose of every aspect of existence, why it was created for existence. So that's only if you reflect on it, you delve into it, and you identify it. He understood. He understood. He said, hey, I'll make Ezel Kenegdo. Separate discussion. There's a question. His wife tells him to eat. God says, don't eat. You listen to your wife, listen to God. That's a very basic question. He's considered a heretic. Min means Kafi Tov is because he blamed God. He blamed, that's something else. He understood. When it comes to blame, you always point the accusing finger on the other one. You don't assume that responsibility. That's Kafi Tova. He was an ingrate. That was it. That was the source of his problem. He was an ingrate. Okay, I mean, we're going to have to do the Maral. What I explained was, we don't have that many days for Bereishis. Why did Chava eat of the Eitzadas? Because he created a fence for her, and he didn't reveal it that it was a fence. He said it was the word of Hashem. He says, "I don't care." God says you can't touch, because he said since Noshim died in Kalos, since women, they don't have the full grasp. He understood his wife. Noshim died in Kalos. This was Odam's evaluation of Chava, of his wife. So as well, he presented the fence as actually the word of Hashem. So when the snake pushed her into the tree, and she didn't die. So what did the snake say? See, the whole thing's meaningless. The whole thing is a charade here. It's not real. God doesn't want you to eat because he's concerned. Because how do you think he became a creator? By eating of the tree? He doesn't need competition. Right? That's what the snake told her. And she ate. So who was the cause of her failing? Adam. So there was a guilt aspect over here. So that's the way I explained it always. So now God says don't eat. But factually, why is she dying? Why now is Chava going to die? He's responsible for her death. If that's the case, you know something? I'm going with her. That was the conflict between, I made a mistake and I'll, whatever it is, and I'll bear the brunt of that mistake, or no, I made the mistake, and because of that, I have responsibility to my wife, because, as I said, sorry, it's me, she's part and parcel, we're one and the same. We're not two entities. And physically, we're two entities, but what are we made of? We're made of the same. No, the Nochash pushing was not his fault. When she was pushed into the tree, and she didn't die. He originally says, well, not only will you die if you eat of the tree, of the fruit, even if you touch the tree, you'll die. And Adam communicated to her as being the word of Hashem. Hashem never said it. That was his self-made fence, except he figured if he tells her a fence, she's not going to listen to him. So what did he say? Hashem said so. A story my Rashi once told me many years ago, when he was about maybe 17. So he visited a community called Vilkamir. It was in Lithuania, Vilkamir. And there was a Rav, his name was the Vilkamir Rav. The Vilkamir was one of the Gedolei Yisrael. He was one of the Gedolei Yisrael. Okay? He was one of the Gedolei Yisrael. He was 17. He never met him. Didn't know. So he happened to be in the community, goes into the shul, he wants to learn. Sees a man sitting with a high yarmulke, just in short sleeves with a vest. He has in the years ago, they used to wear like garters on their sleeves to keep the sleeves up. What? Years ago. And he sees he's learning, and a man with a beard. Figures he's the shamus. Figures he's the shamus of the shul. That's where the shamus used to look in the shul also. He didn't know he was there. He was the Gadol Hador. He didn't know who he was. And so he says to him, will you learn? He says he learns the Slobodka. She says, could you tell me over a piece of Torah from your Rosh Hashiva? From the Rosh Hashiva of Slobodka, from Moshe Mordechai Epstein. That was his name, Moshe Mordechai Epstein. So my Rosh Hashiva, he wasn't a very attentive person. He didn't have patience to listen to a lengthy type of shir. He studied himself. He had his own way. So he says to me, he says, I never listened. So I told him one of my own pieces of Torah. I told him one of my own. So when he told him over his own Torah, he says to him, shtus. That's what this person says. No, it's foolishness. What you're saying is foolishness. So he says to my Rosh Hashiva, he says, if he would have known it was mine, he said foolishness, he would have been okay, but I told him this was my Rosh Hashiva's. So he had to take up the honor of his Rosh Hashiva. So he started engaging with him. He sees the man knows everything. That's what he realized, that he was the Vilkamir Rav. He wasn't the shamus in the shul. You understand? This is the story. So originally he told him it was his Rosh Hashiva's. So how could it be? He shot it down immediately. He says it's nonsense. It can't be. So he had to take up the defense of his Rosh Hashiva. Same thing with Adam. God said. So if God said, so why aren't you dying? So you see the whole thing. So the snake says, you see the whole thing's a farce. She could have said, you see, my husband, he lied to me. She didn't say my husband lied to me. She trusted me. Makes no difference. Makes no difference. See, then, there, no, because there, no. There, Hashem says, when you will eat, you will die. First, Adam, if you remember, once discussed the Marsis Navodah Zorah, Adam thought death means instantaneous death. It's not you become subject to death. Mar says in Avodah Zorah, or now Ernie will appreciate why you liked Yitzhak Bereishis on Shabbos, that originally the first night after he was driven from the Gan Eden, Friday night, as night progresses, it gets darker. He thought that was death. That was the death process. When dawn came, and all of a sudden he realizes that death doesn't mean he's not going to die, but he's subject to death. You understand? So she thought, well, if she knew that, maybe she would have understood different, even if she pushed him into the tree. The snake played on that same ignorance that Adam understood. You understand? Death means instantaneous death. You feel it immediately. So why don't you feel it immediately? So you see, the whole thing is nonsensical. But if she would have understood, death doesn't mean dying immediately. It means you're not an eternal being any longer. She wouldn't have fallen for the snake. You understand? But that's the way Adam, they both understood death meant. Death means you die immediately. This process starts immediately, and you die. That's the reason why that's why he struck he struck the light. When he realized there's night and day, there's night. Night is not death. He equated darkness with death. And then he realized, no, it's not death. So what do? He illuminated. That's when he struck the two flints, and he created the fire. Motzei Shabbos. So to commemorate that, that's the reason why we light lights. We create the fire Motzei Shabbos. Bereishis. Okay? That's okay. So that's something else. Well, Ner Shavas. It's a whole different concept. Not sure exactly why in Yom Kippur we go out of our way. Shabbos is no different than Shabbos. Could be the differences because Shabbos is every week. Yom Kippur is once a year. Because there's nothing else has the laws of the same status as Shabbos as Yom Kippur. You understand? I mean, the only zone liabilities are lesser liabilities. It's Koresh. It's not Mises Bezdin. But in terms of the laws of Yom Kippur are identical to the laws of Shabbos. All Lamates Malachos are in effect on Yom Kippur. Because that's the first light he lit. He created light. The next night, the first night he thought it meant dying. So what's the point of lighting a light? Came Saturday night. That was the first night he knew that was darkness. Darkness means there's a cycle, daylight, day, night. So that's the reason why he lit the light. He created fire to be able to see at nighttime. But evidently that part he didn't understand. He equated that with death. What? Night is vacuum. I just saw something from the Sfas Emes. He said, this is for Yossi, this is in honor of Yossi's here today. The Sfas Emes says, the first piece in Bereishis, that, how do you say world in Hebrew? Olam. Olam comes from the word Helen. Helen means vacuum. I mean, in nature, you don't see God. God is not obvious. So there's a vacuum. So that's Olam is Helen. That's the Sfas Emes. So I'm saying nighttime. The Maral says continuously. Night is a time of Helen. It's non-predictivity in nighttime. Right? The world comes to a standstill at nighttime. That's what he pointed out that time in the Maral. We have Mr. Sivas Olam that, but yet the Gemara says Lo Ivri Lailo El Lagirsa. The Gemara says Achelik. Why did God create night? To study Torah. So although in the physical sense it's a vacuum, but if you study Torah, night is never a vacuum, right? It's Torah or. Torah always illuminates. There's no vacuum. If you're in touch with Torah, there's no such thing as a vacuum. But if you live as a physical being, what's night? Night, everything ceases to be at night, which is a semi-death. It was very wrong. It was very wrong. Vayer vayivoker. He didn't understand this erev and this boker. He never experienced it at nighttime. See, evidently God has kept that from him. If every day of creation the process was vayer vayivoker, right? So if that's, and it says vayavdel, and vayavdel, he separated. So God concealed that from him. This was part of the test. This was part of the test. Yeah. Right. Well, that's the best. Of course, God knows everything. Right. And that was the first day. He already had to implement the Yom Kippur because ultimately this is not an ongoing, this is not a lasting situation over here. No question. What does a doctor take? What's it? Insurance, right? Malpractice. It's inevitable. You're going to mess up. Okay, so same idea. Not that insurance companies are God, even though they believe they are. They pronounce life and death. Well, you understand? It wouldn't have been a test. If he would have had absolute clarity, there wouldn't have been a test here at all. He wouldn't have given a defense either. I mean, there was also a mistake. He should have told her. So his thing is because Noshim died, she's not going to listen. He understood her. He understood the nature, the makeup of a woman. He called the Chava. He called the Chava immediately. Right? He understood what her makeup was. Nochosh Nesher Ari. Tzvi. Oznio. Peres, Oznio. Peres is 3. Peres is, Peres. Shimon Peres. Okay, Oznio. Oznio was more. Oznio is 4. Chasid is 4. Chasidom. 5. No, but the words in the Torah, what we find. Okay, there are others. Shor is 3. Kesef Shor Beis. Right, doesn't go beyond 3. Shor Kesef Beis, Kivolate. Kosher species. Okay, I think we're going to have to do the halacha. No time for morale.